Hey YouTubers, welcome to the channel. So if your BMW F800 GS or F700 looks like this, then I'm going to show you how we can make that a little bit better and a bit more visible when we're looking at braking or turning corners. I'll just turn off the brake light and the indicators, just show you the side light. Okay, I'm not sure if that's flashing. Looks like it might be pulse width modulation there on the camera, but that's the side light, so that's the half brightness setting, and we'll just get into this and see if we can make that a little bit better. Okay, so first step is take off the seat and take off the rear rack, and then on the GS Adventure I've had to take these bolts out here and down here so that I can loosen this rack off completely, and by doing that I can get this to the side and I can get this plate off. I'll do that in a moment. Once I've got that off, I'm going to be changing these indicators for these multi-function units. Now on this bike you can't control it with a multi-function supply, so I've just got a few ideas here how we're going to make that better. Right, I've got into it a bit more now. So on this harness here, which is the harness to the tail lights, I've tapped out a few things. I've tapped out the left, the right, the brake and side light, and the number plate light and the ground. I'll put those colours in the description, or maybe put up a diagram later. Show what those are. I'm just going to take those off, and that's given me those 5-pin outputs. And then to the tail lights, I've also finished that up a bit tidier. So I've got the new tail lights on. Had to just grind away a little bit to get those to fit. So there's the multi-functions. I've wired those in using those sub-harnesses into the original lights, and then I've tapped off the two outputs for the brake lights there. So I'll show you how that all works in a moment. Just to mention this other connector, this is I think an alarm. I'm not sure exactly how that one works, and this is just a CAN cable. Somebody tapped into this before, made a bit of a mess. I've tidied that up. That one just terminates down here. If you do need to get these connectors off the inner mudguard, there is just a little clip. I've broken mine. It's this little finger here, and really whilst you push it here to the right hand side to unclip that, which on the bottom is pushing it to the left hand side to unclip from that little clip there, it's pretty hard to get underneath there. So these do go back on pretty well even if you've broken those clips. So I'll just get this taped up, get that back together, and then I can put all this back together. This is my dash cam. I might put another video up sometime with the installation of that, and then we'll be getting my little box of tricks fully programmed, and I can tell you more about how that works. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so far you should have seen that we got the indicators connected with the multi-function brake light, side light, and now we've got everything up and working. I will jump into the drawings and schematics next to show you how that works out, but pretty much just the simple version is we've got 5 input wires here, so power and ground from the bike wiring and power from the number plate light, and then we've got 3 inputs, this red, green, white. So that is the brake side light input, the left turn on the green and the right turn on the white, I think, maybe the other way around. And we've got 2 outputs, so just these 2 outputs, and these are going down to the brake signals on the single wire input for these lights. So that's the I can't remember the white colour actually of that, but here we're going down a green, and it goes input to that. You'll see all that on the schematic. But pretty much what we've got here is a 4-channel Arduino relay. So these currently only using 2 of these relays, so you could get away with the 2, and pretty much we're just switching the brake light and side light off when we don't want it. So I'll show you that on the schematic, but on this side, and this does look a bit of a mess, still got to tidy this up and finish it off. So we've got an Arduino, that's the purple board running here. We've got 2 outputs from that running to the relays, and from an input point of view we've got 2 inputs. We've got the left and the right indicator going into the Arduino, and the code on that Arduino is looking at those indicators, deciding when they're high, and then turning off the appropriate brake light, side light for that high condition. And then just on the left hand side here we've got a buck regulator. So what this is doing is taking the 14 volts input from the bike, 14 or 14.4 on charge, and just reducing that down to 5 volts using this adjuster here. So that 5 volts is used for the Arduino power board, and that's providing the power to that, whereas the relays are taking the full 12 volt input, 12 volt 14 volt input, on that power and ground there. Okay, so that's the funky bit, and that's looks a bit complicated, but it's pretty straightforward from an electronics point of view if you know what you're doing. Just on the wiring, that's all tidied up there. That's finished off, so ready to go. And it just taps into the rear wiring harness from the bike. Had to take all of this off. Not sure if I showed you that in the video before. And let's have a look what the end result is. So really what we were looking for was the opportunity. Actually, I'll just stop the video here and jump into the next segment. So on the standard GS for the 2016 model year, you're going to get the center brake light, just working on brake and side, and you're going to get the indicators on the side. But now what we've got, I can just show you in the mirror, is we've got, I might be flashing on the video just because of the video signal, but pretty much to me that looks pretty straight normal. So I've got side lights and side lights on the side there, and then if I put on the brake signal, then I get brake in the center and brake on the sides. Might be easier to see if we look in that mirror over there. So I don't know if you can see that. So that's the brakes, and all that's doing is passing that brake signal straight through from the center to these sides. So anybody could achieve that pretty easily. You don't need any electronics just to get that. The problem you get is if you're on indicator, then this indicator would be flashing and this brake or side would be drowning that out, which is what everybody complains about. So if I put on the right indicator, what you'll see now is this relay turns on, and don't worry about the clicking, I've just got to change the code a little bit to fix that up. But pretty much you can see here, hopefully, that the indicator is on and there's no brake side on this side. But on the other side, we still have the brake side. So the end result is you just get a much better visibility of this indicator, and you still get side lights on that side. And then if we put the brake lights on, and you might see that in that window, you can see that we get full braking on 2 of the lights, an indicator on the 3rd. And then if I just stop that, we'll go straight back to just normal. And then if we go to the other indicator, okay, it's just playing up. Takes a little time to settle down sometimes. And now of course it's not going to work. Might just be a low voltage condition from the bike. I'll check that, but I think you get the idea that we can isolate the brake or side feed that's passing through this board every time we get the indicator on, which is pretty much what I wanted to achieve, so that I could have my 3 brake lights and single indicator whenever I wanted to. Okay, I'll jump in and show you the schematic, and then if anybody wants to give me any hints or any improvements, we'll see how we go. I just turned that back on just to give that another test, so maybe if I put the camera there you'll be able to see everything happening. So left indicator, 1 relay on, just to isolate that signal, and stop. Both brake lights, side lights on, other indicator, you just see that relay clicking on. Okay, so that little glitch is caused by a delay timer in the Arduino code. I just need to change that to be a millis timer, and then we should all be sweet. So a little bit more work to do on my coding, but functionally we're working okay. And then the next step will be using the other 2 relays to isolate my front side indicators that I'll be putting on next. So I think we'll just show the schematic on this video, wrap it up, and then see what people think of that. Okay, so just looking at the front indicators and side lights. So these little units I found on eBay, I'll put the link in, and we've got orange and white LEDs there. So I've just rewired those with this very small little cable, and on the back there used to be of this nut and pin, and so I've just ground that down a little bit shorter, and I got my buddy at work to help me out, and we made these little nuggets that go on the back. Not sure if you can see that there. There we go. Little plastic nut goes on the back. So I'm just going to run this cable around and cable tie that across the bottom there, and then we'll run that all the way to the back, and on the end of that I've just got the live and white light and yellow light. We'll wire those into the rear relay box, and hopefully that'll all work out. See what's happening there. They'll come off this second relay, and using the Arduino again, we'll just be switching those in and out just with the 12-volt live feed. So just turn them on and off in line with the indicator and the side lights. So side lights will be on all the time, indicator will turn on. You'll get the idea when I show you that, and we'll see what that looks like in conjunction with the multifunction rear light. And then also at the back here, just the one wire for the indicator driver. So that's going to hook up to here to power just the rear indicators. I gave up on the front indicators. Maybe I'll tap into those another time, but I'm not sure that I want to bother to do that. Okay, so that should just give me a bit of visual indication. Just thinking whether I should have done the front or not. So the front indicators are here, a bit harder to tap into. Sorry, excuse catching on there. Gotta go down there, off to somewhere. Okay, so let's get this back together, get the side panels back on and see how we go. Multi-function indicators are finally finished, and I'll just show you what they look like with them off. So we've got two red lights on the left and the right of the original red light, and they are also indicator units. So a little bit different to the front. The front's still got the indicators, and at the back we've got those multi-functions now. So if I just show you what those look like. So this is ignition on, and we've got two side lights. Probably just getting some flash there on the video from the refresh rate of those LEDs. But if you look on that board there, you probably can see those. And then if I put the brake lights on, so now we've got the 3 brake lights. So pretty sweet, pretty straightforward so far. And then the magic occurs when we put the indicator on. So if we go for the left indicator, what we now have is just a flashing indicator, and the side light goes off. And the same if we go for the right hand indicator. We've just got that right hand indicator flashing, and the side lights are just on there. So that was the main aim, was to get that all working so we can go left and right. And it's just a lot clearer when somebody's coming up behind you. You can really see which way you're indicating. And then if I put the hazards on, you can see we also get that working, and we get both hazards on. So I did try a few different ways to get that to work, and I did have originally this relay board. I might have shown you earlier in the video. I've got to do some editing because this has taken so long to do. But this relay board achieved that aim, and the way it did that was by using 2 relays to chop the power to the brake feed, and then 2 more to provide the indicator feed when I wanted indicators. And that was pretty funky. So we had a little Arduino running, we had some voltage dividers to get the signal inputs, and we had the buck converter to provide the 12 volts down to the 5 volts for that board. But it was good, it just was a bit bulky, it was a bit messy, it was a bit of a prototype. So what I decided to go for in the end, and maybe I've shown before in the previous video, so just under my camera you can see I've got these 2 timer units, and the way these work is when the indicator's on, just turns that timer on, and just the indicator keeps that triggered all the time. And then if I turn the indicator off, it's just got a 1 second timer. And the same on the other side. Left hand side, probably can just see that a bit better. If I can get the camera out of the way, you can see that indicator working away. And then if I stop, that times down, and we're back to the side lights. Same on this side. Okay, so I'll put the schematic at the end of the video, probably also for the Arduino as well. Those red lights, I can put those in a mode where they will be off. And that just all tucks under there neatly, under the seat. I can get that back on one-handed. And away we go. So I'm feeling a lot safer when I ride the bike. I think you'd agree, having 3 lights is better than 1, the original, and just gives a bit better angle from the side. And then the last thing I did with the outputs from those indicators is I actually ran them up to these little side lights that I put at the front. So these are also powered by the same feed as the red lights at the back. And just the same, if I put the indicator on, then I get a little side indicator, a bit like a car running with the main indicator. And my reasoning for that was your handlebars are a lot higher in traffic. You've often got a car driver completely alongside you. You're trying to change lanes or do something, and they just don't look at the bike indicators because they're just lower than the window line. So that was the idea. I hope you like that. Be interested to see what your comments are, and on to the next project. Thanks for watching.